Okay, one of the first few questions asked when it comes to any campaign, especially a space campaign, is what's allowed. From what I'm seeing, if I were to go off what real science says, there aren't very many worlds where life is like ours. So what I did was I said there's Earth, and there's one other world that has fairly complex life, but it's not very compatible to human life. And that makes sense in a real world, realistic view. And I'll talk about that later. We'll call that world turquoise, but I'll talk about that later. So, if that's the case, then most of your people live in space stations or planets that they can put asteroid domes on. There might even be a few planets that might be able to be terraformed. I haven't gotten that far yet. Let's just say there's at least one or two that have been terraformed to be close to human life with minor modifications. There are no aliens yet, although there have been alien artifacts found. Just remnants of civilizations or maybe pieces of equipment that no longer work. But due to this, the variety actually comes in our advance in technology. With gene engineering, computer complexity, and cybernetics, and a combination of all three. This is where the campaign actually rests. My characters will all be essentially non-human. To give a description of what I mean, the worlds, the systems, have a loose council, per se, determined to govern major things. One of the things that's very important to this campaign is the fact that they, the governments, decided what constituted as being human. And that is a being that can breed with and have a viable offspring with the baseline human. Now let's redefine the baseline human. Are humans that have been treated to where they don't have any genetic defects. So what we know today, like Down syndrome and cystic fibrosis and muscular dystrophy, everything that's genetic has been removed. What this does is increases the overall health to +1. So now the human's baseline health is 11. Plus the education, thanks to the new technology, is much better. And the genetics is made to where the average IQ is made +1 more. So your baseline human has +1 to IQ, +1 to health, and disease resistant +3. That's your baseline human now, which is different than the humans today. So those are basically free advantages. So when you go from your baseline of 11 to 12, it's actually as if you're going from 10 to 11. That's important on point costs, since we are using 3rd edition GURPS. It's important to remember that since there's now a 4th edition out. Now the players, my players, are going to be outside of that box. The examples I have are genetically modified humans to where they can no longer breed with the baseline. Actual bioroids, as they call them, or genetically grown individuals, usually made for purposes that are dangerous for humans. Then people, of course, ask, well, what's your computer technology? And I say 10. Feasible that by then we could have enough computer sophistication to have near human sentience. That said, everyone knows or believes that once the computers realize that they are who they are and that we need them more than they need us, that there'll be a big war, a big revolution. Okay? Now, because of this paranoia in my campaign, if a computer exhibits the signs that it's beginning to question, who am I? It is immediately grabbed up and wiped, considered a defect, because all computers are owned. This is important to know, as are all robots. Same category. That being said, one of my characters is going to be a mega comp, about 200 to 400 pounds, complexity 6, 7, something like that. Very expensive computer that is designed to run a mining operation by itself, with, of course, help of droids. Remote control droids. With added memory slots. Okay? This computer is just beginning to be self-aware. As you can see, the problem with being a non-human is you don't have the same human rights. And that'll be important because it's part of the challenge of the campaign. Another example are uplifted animals. Again, useful, but not considered human. Okay, one of the examples that are going to be in my campaign is a dolphin. Dolphins are wonderful pilots. Wonderful pilots. And they're more expendable than a human life. So that's important to note. Another such character that will be important are cyborgs. Now, there's a difference in a partial cyborg and a total cyborg. A partial cyborg has a hand, an eye, maybe an ear, maybe a heart that's replaced by mechanical. A total cyborg is only the brain inside of a mechanical body. That's important to note, that it cannot breed with a normal human. And its only real pleasure is online, because virtual reality, by this point in time, is very close to normal reality.